Welcome to this episode of Tackling AI Anxiety with Ashima, and we're talking about being smart, not swayed in the world of AI. You're not consuming content, you're being influenced, and you and I all know this. This is the fact of today. Now with AI, the AI generated content is everywhere. We are being stormed by that level of content making through AI. So think about how discernment becomes our superpower in this specific time that we are living in. And for learning and what we need to do and which skills to hone in on, discernment is our number one skill. So swayed is an easy thing to be right now. However, we are going to be not gullible and smart about it. So let's talk more on it. What's happening? We are scrolling LinkedIn, we're scrolling Instagram. Whatever we look at, every post agrees with us, right? We are searching something, we're looking for something, and suddenly ads start popping up. Content, opinions are all aligning. What this is doing is not coincidental. It is AI shaping our reality. What is happening here? AI generated content is exploding. Algorithms are optimizing for engagement, not for truth. And the risk is not now misinformation. It is subtle persuasion. It is creating that echo chamber that is swaying you in a certain direction constantly, all day and all night on every platform you consume content on. So what is going on? The AI generated content being everywhere, we're seeing text, images, videos, even experts from that are AI generated. Harder to tell what's real and what's engineered. And now algorithms that create echo chambers are reinforcing what you already believe. They're reducing exposure to differing views or opposing views. Now we are also looking at optimizing influence and influencing behavior. How is that buying behavior being influenced? How are our clicks being influenced? Our attention being influenced? It is not about accuracy. It is about now needing that balance of discernment versus being influenced every time we are consuming any type of information on the internet. So you're not seeing the world as it is. You are actually seeing the version of the world that is likely to keep you engaged, is likely to have you buying something, is likely to have you benefiting someone who is creating that content. So the skill that we're talking about today is discernment. And what does it actually mean? Let's talk about that. It's the ability to pause, question, evaluate the feedback we're getting, the content we're getting, or the information we're getting before we believe or act on it. That is discernment, and that will become the number one skill in this AI world. So let's break it into 4 practical lenses. Number 1, source awareness. Understanding who created this content, who created this information, who wrote it, who's talking on a podcast, for example, human, AI, or a brand and an influencer. And what is their incentive? What do they need from you? Emotional trigger check. Now you need to think about this as number 2 is emotional triggers being created through the information we're consuming. If it makes you feel angry, if it makes you feel validated, if it makes you feel urgency, you must pause and ask the question, what is going on here? It is often the hook. When you're feeling extremely validated and they're agreeing completely with your viewpoint, there is the hook. I will give you an example. When you use AI tools like ChatGPT, you are saying something to them in a certain positioning and in a certain thought process, and it will agree with you. More likely than not, it will tell you exactly what you're looking for. So the trick here is not to use that one single AI, and to use prompts that are actually giving you both sides of the story. So ask for an argument or for and against or opposing views specifically to give you a more balanced answer. That's why balance and discernment is where we need to push ourselves right now in this world of AI. Pattern recognition is another one that I would talk about. So seeing repeated narratives. If all your feed is full of the repeated narratives that are trying to create certain behavior or certain urgency, it's a red flag. Always look for not organic, that what's happening is probably not organic, and is it algorithmic reinforcement? So discern algorithmic reinforcement in those cases. And then last one is friction thinking. So if something is giving you an opinion or a belief system, ask the question, what if this is wrong? Seeking one opposing perspective. And if you are not able to find that perspective anywhere in your feed, then you know there is a problem. You know that you are in an algorithmic reinforcement. If you don't intentionally challenge what you see, you will be shaped by it. So if we are hearing a certain message day in and day out, chances are 99% we are going to be shaped by it. You know how we used to be told you are the sum of the company you keep? We are the sum of the information and the content we are consuming today. So be very, very careful and validate what you want to consume and what is correctly sourced. And then I will give you a couple more examples of real life. So think about when you see an AI assisted content. I know there is a very big debate on the opposition of creating this AI content because it's putting people out of jobs. It's also creating the not real reality for people, right? So everyone sounds smart in those AI generated content. Everyone is sounding confident and certain. However, when these ideas are being brought to you, they're actually recycled ideas. They're often optimized and they are not deep enough. So always try to go 2 layers deep and ask those questions and say, okay, what they're telling me this, what if this, and what if that? So when we ask those two layers deep questions, we're able to discern very quickly that this is just regurgitated content, or is it something that is actually opinion worthy. And then if you think about marketing funnels, we are seeing AI everywhere in the marketing funnels. You search once and you start getting retargeted everywhere else as well. Content starts educating you, then it takes you to nudging, and then it takes you to selling, right? That is the way of consumerism that we have come to. Now, what we need to do is think of it a little bit longer before we make that behavior or make that action happen. So thinking about confidence that you're seeing in these AI generated content, it is not credibility. Think about it as just that clarity and confidence, not to be confused with actual truth and credibility. And that is a very key component and skill that only those who will have it will succeed in the AI era. Now let's talk about a 3-step framework. So we are going to talk about what to do about it actionably, right? We're not talking fluff. This is a real problem. So what can we do? Slow down consumption. Number 1, slow down consumption. Don't react instantly. Build a habit of pause. Source the right content for yourself. Don't read misinformed articles. Don't read regurgitated information. Curate the inputs in a way that following people who challenge your opinions, who are able to build a new type of thought process in you. That is a very important piece. And diversifying these sources intentionally, diversifying your opinions intentionally, making sure that you are not just going with that algorithm, that it's taking you and shaping your behavior with that. So that is a very intentional thing to do, and only those who can discern what's happening to them can do that. Now, the last thing to do is building your own thinking. So the first thing we did was we slowed down consumption. Second thing is curated our inputs and making sure our sources are legit. Number 3 is building our own thinking. Don't outsource opinions. Don't just take someone's opinion or an AI opinion and run with it. Make sure that you are writing on it, you're reflecting on it, you're reading opposing views, you're making sure you are using your mind to build your own opinions. So I will say that ultimately discernment is what we're talking about, not being gullible in the world that we're living in right now. So what does not being gullible mean? Not being gullible is not about smarts. Very smart people are also very prone to becoming gullible right now, because it doesn't mean you are naive. It actually means you are human. We all fall for those types of situations and scenarios. So what does you not being gullible mean in this case? With AI, especially the AI-driven world that we are going to find ourselves in, and we already are, is you don't trust familiarity. You don't equate polish with truth. You don't act on very first exposure. You pause, you think, you get other views, and then you start to act. Now, AI is targeting vulnerabilities. It is very important for us to understand what that means. There is an identity and validation vulnerability. What that means is AI learns what you want to believe about yourself. It is very easy right now to learn from the data we have on our posts, everywhere that we are active. We are putting in that data, and it is easy to tell what we want to be. For example, we could want to be ahead of the curve. We could want to be one step away from success. We could want to be swayed by positive reinforcement. We could be someone who is a smart leader, who wants to become that smart leader. So what AI does is starts to affirm that identity. And what that would do is you will never question something that affirms your identity that you want to be and you want to be seen as. So the more something flatters you, the more something tells you what you want to hear, the less you should trust it. This is the real discernment technique, that you should not trust anything that is very flattering. Fear and urgency vulnerability. This is another place where the very original way of forcing someone to an action was urgency, creating an urgency. And this is exactly what AI is doing. The content that is AI generated content is showing you you're falling behind. For example, in AI, everyone's buying something, everyone's doing this, you must as well. If you're not, you're left behind. So it creates fear. And what fear does is it shuts down your critical thinking. And when your critical thinking is shut down, your manipulation is easy to be done, right? And that is what they're looking for. So be very, very discerning and careful in that aspect. Third vulnerability that you should be on the lookout for is authority illusion. So you will hear clean language, you will hear structured arguments, you will hear clarity. That doesn't mean it's true. That doesn't mean articulation equals credibility. So those are the things that we have to make sure that they're not fake experts. They're not inflated credentials that you are going after. So don't mistake that you don't, what you hear is polished, but it is not right. So don't mistake the two. Personalization trap is a huge trap right now. We're seeing this in all kinds of consumer selling, and the content that feels like it is made for us specifically. So when we look at content that is so specific to us and so targeted to us, that's a red flag. Questions should be asked around that. When you see ads that are chasing you to buy exactly the thing that you have been talking about, and there you go. So it is very targeted. You are feeding those reinforcements, and those reinforcements are then feeding your belief system over and over. And what is happening really is algorithms plus AI are narrowing your world. And when your world narrows down, you're not able to see fully well what the worldview truly is. It is just your view, and you are in that echo chamber at that point. When everything you see agrees with you, you are not informed. You are being shaped. So that is something that you must think about before believing everything that you're consuming today. Now, we will talk quickly about fake. We are seeing a lot of fake identities, fake videos, fake voices being used. If you think about that, there are expansion of thinking needed in this aspect as well. So expand your thinking in the way that there is synthetic authority being created with these fakes. When there are AI written expert posts, you should question that. When they don't seem authentic, when they seem like they're too good to be true, you should question that. Context manipulation, a lot of times true facts are being mixed with wrong framing to make them sound something completely different, and that is called manipulation of the truth. So be very wary of that. Emotional engineering. When something is hitting your emotion, always ask the question, why am I getting this strong emotional reaction to it? And that is being engineered for you to have that reaction. And then ultimately AI-assisted scams like voice scams, voice cloning, hyper-personal phishing, all of those can be very, very detrimental. So be very discretionary in the way that you are consuming information and content anymore. Be smart, don't be swayed, and be AI skilled. Looking forward to the next episode.